Alrighty. Well, welcome again to another video. This time I want to talk about how to deal with critters, and especially um, if if this really is the time of the end, and we may be having to live without shelter. But there's critters out there. That live around us, and I'm going to try to help you um, deal with them. But in the olden days, what they did is they made the Creek and Seminole and other Indians. Um, I think the Appalachian. There's um, other Indian groups, but basically they made platform shelters, so they lived off the ground. So if you're sleeping, it's best to not sleep on the ground because there's too many things that could crawl in your sleeping bag. um, like what they did is they did raise platforms, and you can do this if you have rope, is to tie beams across from tree to tree and try to find trees, like 3 trees, where you can lay like a beam, and like a beam here and then a beam here, and then do cross beams. So if you can get these two with trees and stuff, and lash them to a tree somehow, and then lay the cross beams, you can get off the ground. Um, because at nighttime you'll have there's two spiders that we have around here, one being the black widow and the other being the brown recluse. They like dark spots. So at nighttime they may be found climbing into your bag. And also you have snakes. And they may find their way into your bag. They like warm spots in a nice sleeping bag, or your body is a good place to have a lot of warmth. So you just have to be cautious. In the olden days, they used to have fires as well, that kept away a lot of the critters. But the best thing to do is to have your boots, like what you can do is put them upside down, and have them be on a stick. And also, don't just slip on your boots in the middle of the night if you have to go to the restroom. Make sure you shake them out and look in them before you go slipping them on, to get the critters out of them. Um, but a lot of times at nighttime, well, it depends on what time. I mean, what time of the year. Because generally speaking, snakes don't move very well when it's below 60 or 65 degrees. So if you find a snake in the dead of winter, well, you probably won't, unless you're further south in like Florida. But generally speaking, snakes like to hibernate, and won't be around during really cold snaps. However, they may come around if there um, is food available. However, in the dead of winter, they're not going to be around. Um, Other critters at nighttime that you'll have maybe come around. Coyotes are a very real possibility, and potentially could go after a human, and may go after your stuff. Um, so a fire would potentially keep them away. I would have a stick available to knock them senseless if they actually attacked you. If you had a gun or a bow, that would be another way of shooing them away. Um, and there are coy wolves, which are a combination of coyote and dog, or coyote and wolf, which are reportedly more and more common now. Um, it could be called a coy dog, not a coy wolf, but you got the picture. But they are less timid. They're basically have dog and coyote traits. and they are definitely around. My coyotes do like to be out at nighttime. A lot of times you'll hear them. I've heard them yipping and yowling. Most of the time they're single. They don't travel in packs a lot of times, but I've seen them be in packs if they need to take down a deer. They'll definitely travel in a pack in order to take out the deer. So that is someone that I have seen them go after little dogs, and I've seen them go after kids. Um, Basically, they try to go after things that are smaller than them, unless it's a group of them. Um, we don't have wolves around; they don't exist here anymore. Another guy that is a potential, who I've heard reports are panthers, who are extremely agile and potentially could be around. Um, they are very stealthy, and you just have to stay in your ground. Act bigger than they are. Use all the different ways to shoo them away. Kick them in the groin, poke them in the eye, use a stick or whatever you have to do to fend them off. Um, and they have been reported to be around here, especially in like Apalachicola and Tatel Forest. There's a lot of land, and I don't believe that the numbers are accurate. They claim that they're not here. They are. So just be aware of them, but stay in your ground. If you ever come across one during the day, just stay in your ground. If you have any kids um, with you in your group, make sure that they're not the last one. Make sure that your group stays together, and that you um, fight off the panther or whatever and deal with them. But generally speaking, you're not going to find them in a group. So another guy that is potentially comes out at nighttime. Well, he also comes out during the daytime, but in the fall, what they'll do is eat about 20,000 calories. So that's a lot of like Big Macs. And they just gorge themselves because in the wintertime, they semi hibernate. So they don't hibernate fully. They can wake up and eat during the wintertime because it's not as cold as most of the places. But they do hibernate, but they can be woken up. Um, so, um, and generally speaking, they're just going after food. So the way you handle most critters is to not have anything smelling in your tent or in your shelter or anything on you. If you get it on a shirt, you can scrub it off. Make sure you don't have anything that smells on you at nighttime so you won't attract any type of critter. That means scented toilet paper, it means perfume, it means food related, it means anything that has a scent to it because it can attract an animal. And you put it in it's a bear bag. Basically, what you do is you attach a rope and you put it in a bag and put it in a tree, preferably 10 to 15 feet up. And that is your best bet. If you have it, like if you're in a car and you're like traveling around and whatever, your car is not as safe as you think. I've seen many videos where bears will beat the poop out of a car and get into it and take whatever out of it. Because when I was growing up, I thought that that was a safe place. It's not. um, I would have a clean campsite. Um, I would try not to have food out. If you have a way of a container, or if you're in a cabin, or some way of not having it out, that would be a great way of handling critters. But you will have possums and raccoon trying to get into your food. Raccoons look nice and furry in very docile, but when they're backed into a corner, they will rip you to shreds. They have claws and they have teeth, and they are not afraid to take you down. They also carry rabies. So the rabies carriers are fox, skunk, raccoon, bat, and coyote are the five main carriers. There are obviously mammals can potentially carry rabies, like mice and all those, but I think it's. But what I was taught, I'm a wildlife biologist, and what I was taught is those are the five main carriers. I think the other ones die too quickly and aren't as affected by it. But if an animal acts really aggressive or is foaming at the mouth, um, it has rabies. Fox. I've not really ever known of a fox to go after a human. They're around, but they are solitary and they kind of just do their own thing. Another guy that's out there is a bobcat who likes to be in trees during the daytime, but can be found on the ground. But most of the time, he's in the trees, and I've never known of them attacking a human. But in this time, it does say that God uses beasts against humanity. So I don't know what that will look like if all of them basically have the fear of humans taken from them. That may be the case. So, but bobcats are like 30-pound, like big cats. They're not that big. And if you have a bow or if you have a bat or stick or some way, all you gotta do is just beat them senseless, or any animal. That's what I would do, is I would have a stick ready to go. And your main thing is trying to keep them out of your food and trying to keep them from getting into it. And food also, you'll have bugs and other things that are attracted to it. So you gotta figure out a plastic bin, or maybe like a combination of a plastic bag and a bin to keep them out. Is a great way. Snakes during the wintertime aren't a problem. You have a lot of venomous snakes during the summer. So if you're around and it's hot outside, you're going to have snakes on the ground. And usually they'll let you know if they're there. I don't agree that snakes are aggressive. However, the more that they're around humans, the less aggressive, the more aggressive they are, and the less fear of humans they have. So that is a possibility. And that goes with any animal. It's the more that they're around, the more that they've been fed, the more likely that they're going to be around you and have no fear of humans. And that's why feeding animals of any kind is very bad. But I would just watch your step. When I'm out in the woods and very rarely come across a snake, they are there, but usually they go the other way. Most of the time when I've come across a snake, they're hiding under a piece of rock or a piece of trash and just are trying to stay warm. But if you come across a snake that looks like it's about ready to come at you, the difference between a venomous and non-venomous snake is venomous snakes have a larger head than their body. It's typically like a triangular shaped head kind of thing. Kind of looks like basically like if you've ever seen like a arrow on a like spear kind of thing. That's the way I would say it. They also have slitted eyes, like cat eyes. So those are two distinctive ways. And actually, if it were survival mode, I would make snake for dinner, and the venom is in their heads. So all you gotta do is chop off their head, and you can get rid of the venom easily. I've never had snake meat, but if I were in a survival situation, that would be an item that I would prepare. I would put them on a stick and cook them over the fire. Um, they can swim, so that is something that if you go in the water, they will swim as well. Um, we have coral snakes that they have to sit there and gnaw on you, but it's red on black friended jack, so that is the scarlet king snake, and then red on yellow killer fellow is the coral snake, and it's a very slender snake that I've seen them get to be about 2 feet long, and I jumped over one. They're very docile. I mean, I've seen multiple people pick them up with not much problem. It's the eastern diamondback and the moccasin that are more aggressive and have a tendency to strike at you. My dog got hit by, one of them got hit by a moccasin because he stupidly tried to go after him. He was like, "What is this animal?" And I've also had a lab get knocked in the nose by a pygmy rattler, and he lived. If that ever happens to you, just give your dog Benadryl and watch him. And depending on the dog's size, if it's a big dog and it gets hit by a snake, it more likely will live. However, if you have a little chihuahua and it gets hit by a snake, you may lose them. So bugs are a problem outdoors. There are things that somewhat repel them. Like mint has been known to get rid of them. Lavender, lemon balm, lemongrass kind of thing. Garlic, like if you eat garlic and use garlic, I've heard that it helps somewhat. I have seen dryer sheets work somewhat. There's a plant called beautyberry. If you ever see purple berries in the woods, it's probably beautyberry. It's a shrub that's about 4 or 5 feet tall, and you can crush up the berries and spread it on you, and it'll help you get rid of mosquitoes and stuff. During the day, mosquitoes aren't, well, I mean, they can be bad, but mosquitoes like to be around water. So if you're not as near water, they are not as bad. But right at dusk, they have a tendency to swarm you. If you saw my last video of a lake and a sunset video, I was swarmed by mosquitoes. They can carry all kinds of infectious diseases from malaria to dengue to equine encephalitis to yellow fever to all kinds of other things, and can make it itch like crazy. So just fire will help. If it's windy, that will help too. Wind will keep down bugs. So if you're in an environment like near a coast, that may help your chances. If you ever see a spiky caterpillar or a very hairy caterpillar, keep away. Florida has pus caterpillars that are very hairy. They look like a very, very hairy caterpillar, but it will put the hurt on you. And there's others that have these spines on them, like the saddleback and other caterpillars that can inject, I guess, venom into you and make life not fun. So don't touch caterpillars. Let's see what else. Bats. Bats aren't a problem, in my opinion. Just if you ever come across bat droppings, don't inhale. Don't be in an enclosed environment with bat droppings or mouse droppings for that matter, because it carries hantavirus. So if you go in a building and there's a lot of droppings on the ground, try to mask up or put a bandana or something over your face, and don't inhale the fumes, because that stuff can get inside of you and make you really, really sick. Um, but bats do carry rabies, but a bat's not going to bite you. I'm sorry, it's not. We don't have vampire bats in here, but they will get rid of a lot of bugs at nighttime. They kill like, I think it's 1,000 bugs in an hour, 600 to 1,000. So they are very good to have around. Um, let's see what else. Ants can be a problem, especially fire ants. If you have a mound of fire ants, they can be definitely a problem. Um, if you have boil hot water and put it on a nest, I've heard that it will get rid of some of them. There are other ways of getting rid of them. I just don't know any off the top of my head besides the boiled water. um, Wasp and bees. Bees don't really want to go after you. However, if you have a wasp nest around you and you start messing with it, they will come after you. And they will sting you multiple times. If a bee stings you, it's basically suicide by bee. So it kills them instantly. Let's see, what other critters do we have? We do have mice that can be a problem, that can get into food and stuff. And like I said earlier, carry hantavirus. I wouldn't ever eat them. Animals do carry diseases, like rabbits. If you ever find spotted meat, don't eat it of rabbit, because it's they carry was it tularemia. And just, if you're ever eating an animal, make sure that it's healthy. If it has any kind of oozing or something very funky about it, or something's off about it, don't eat it. If it smells off, then don't eat it. Um, so, alligators are a problem in our area, but they're not going to be away from water. A lot of times they will kind of try to figure out what's going on, so they'll put their head above water and kind of get a view of what's around before they attack. And if they go after you, most of the time it's over a 9-foot gator that would go after you. So basically, what you do is just be very aware of your surroundings. Like if you have to go through a swamp, then just be aware of your surroundings and try to make a raft where you can be completely on it, and out of the water. What else? Basically, I mean, most of the time when I'm in the woods, yes, there are critters all around me, but if you know what you're doing, I mean, they won't mess with you. Oh, pigs. Pigs can be very brutal. They do have tusks on them, the wild version of them, and can be extremely mean, and rip up the ground, going after different animal or different grubs and stuff in the ground. And they can really be mean and come after you. They are highly aggressive. Armadillo carry leprosy, so don't ever eat an armadillo. Never had a possum, so I don't know. But they are scavengers. Same with raccoon, and I don't know how good the meat tastes. But in a survival situation, I'd probably eat it. If you're in the ocean, you have to be aware of sharks and stingrays and jellyfish. Shark are all over the place, and can attack at any time. They will sneak up on you and can be anywhere. Jellyfish are definitely around. Um, However, I've swam in media ocean, and I swim for a little bit, keep an eye on my surroundings, and keep going. Um, I've never known them to attack a boat. Um, so I think you're okay if you're in a boat. Um, but let's see what else. Oh, stingrays are bad because of their barb on their tail. So if you're in an area where stingrays, you just shuffle your feet, and hopefully you won't encounter a stingray. Um, and they tend to swim off. Like if you're in the area and they see you, they usually go the other way pretty quick. Um, Anything else? So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of animals out there, and it's just you just gotta be aware of your surroundings and just be very observant. Um, don't go too fast, and just be very aware of your surroundings and protect. I mean, you can have sticks in your hands, or a walking stick or a pole or something, and if an animal attacks, beat the poop out of it. Hopefully this gives you some idea of how to handle animals. Thank you for joining me. Take care. God bless. Oh, and well, go to God with this. I mean, God will protect you, and He'll guide you and lead you to where He wants you to go. Um, and it does say that He uses beasts to do His bidding. So do be aware. So if you're wicked and wrong, then yeah, He'll use them against you. Anyway, God bless.